everyone, this is Eugene Roddenberry.
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
This is Leonard Crowfoot.
This is Dr. Aaron McDonald, Star Trek Science Advisor and Lieutenant Commander McDonald on Star Trek Prodigy.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek.
Humanist Trek.
You're listening to Humanist Trek.
the Humanist Trek Podcast.
And you're listening to Humanist Trek, a fabulous, fabulous show.
Enjoy.
And don't worry, you can do your Temporal Mechanics 101 homework later.
This is a perfect episode for fucking Christmas
Isn't
Day.
What are the odds that we would have come out this way? And
Holy
this
shit.
isn't planned. You
No.
recall we had a couple weeks that we had to be like, sorry, we're
Yeah.
off the air this week because
Yeah.
shit was happening.
Yeah, it's God's plan, Sarah. It's God's plan, Sarah.
Which God?
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Welcome aboard.
Jean-Luc Picard to the Starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
That is enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the Starship Enterprise.
You can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Jolan True, and welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a comedy Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
And I'm Allie Ashmead.
Merry fucking Christmas, everybody!
Woohoo!
Happy Christmas to those who celebrate
Ching,
as
ching,
this episode
ching.
comes out.
You gotta do the ringing bells, like the Santa's sleigh bells ringing as he rides out of sight, saying "Merry Christmas to all,"
And to all a good night. Yeah. That made me think of something else. As this comes out on Christmas, Allie and I haven't discussed this. So my podcast before this one, was Sarah Talk, and we had an annual tradition where I would play the Christmas research paper that I recorded. What was it called?
I don't have any answers. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Holidays for Heathens is a wow, look at AI. I searched Christmas Sarah Talk. Christmas Sarah Talk likely refers to the holiday content from the Sarah Talk YouTube channel, known for its Holidays for Heathens Christmas specials that explore holiday traditions from a secular/cultural perspective.
Ooh.
There you go. So what I did was I went and did a bunch of research on winter solstice time holiday traditions and prepared an oral report, and it was my Christmas gift to the listeners at Sarah Talk. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun, because it's not available anywhere anymore. I took all that down.
You could do that for Patreons.
Wouldn't it be fun to release it on our Patreon? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Christmas gift to those of you on Patreon. There's another fun thing. We talked about this on the show. One of my family traditions is you wake up on Christmas morning and you call all of your family, and the goal is to say Christmas gift before the other person. Now, back in the day, when you had landlines, you could hear the jostle of the receiver handle when they picked it up, and you could kind of like get the jump on them. But with this technology we have now, it's really hard.
Now
the person
you gotta text
answering
them.
the call,
You just text them now.
we do that. Like, especially if you stay up past midnight, and then I text at like 12:01.
12:01.
Got you all.
I
Yeah.
would be like, that's how I would be. I would be that competitive. I'd be super competitive.
But now, if you're the one answering the phone, like, you have the advantage, because I can see on my caller ID that it's my mom calling or whatever, and so I can just go, boop, Christmas gift. Yeah.
or you don't have to answer.
Well, yeah. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Christmas at my school, or should I say holidays at my school. So at my school, I am doing the elves. My kids have outgrown the magic of Christmas. And so they're in the know now. They have become elves and Santas, and their elves are now coming to visit my school, coming to my kitchen. So we started off the whole thing right after Thanksgiving break. I had them set up on a speed rack with an empty pie pan with crumbs all over the place and was like, they destroyed my kitchen over break and ate the last pie. And so I was mad at them. And so I put them in timeout. I put them inside a milk crate, which I attached a padlock to. And I put a sign up that said, help us, we're stuck in here.
Mhm.
We can't get out unless 100 kids come eat school breakfast in one day.
Mm-hmm.
So it became a gimmick as, to try to get kids to come and try breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
So 100's the goal. You get 100. The elves get to break free and, play around the cafeteria. And so a week goes by and they're 80s, maybe a 90 day, and they finally hit 100. And so then I let them out. But over the weekend, my daughter was feeling kind of some type of way about like missing the elves.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was the first year that she knew, and she, so she could touch them, because if you touch the elves, they lose their magic.
Mm.
So she was kind of feeling some type of way. So I was like, joint custody. They can come back on the weekends and, stay at the house over the weekend. So I tipped over the milk crate. I made it look like they escaped. And when I came back on Tuesday morning, I put them back the way they were. And the kids, so there's, we do a daycare program. There's an after school and a before school care. And then Monday also. So Friday after the after care program, they came in and went looking for the elves, and they were nowhere to be found. And Tuesday morning, I heard about it. Miss Sarah, your elves weren't here. They were gone. And I was like, they were right here when I came in this morning.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yep. Yep. So a little Christmas magic in my kitchen. So then they finally hit 100 breakfast, exactly 100. And you know how disappointed I would have been if we got 99.
Mm-hmm.
But they hit 100. And so I opened up the lock and tipped over the milk crate, and you can buy elf accessories like to the extreme at the store.
Oh my God.
We have this little candy cane looking grapple hook that has your red and white striped rope coming off of it. And I hooked it up in the ceiling, and they were climbing up.
Oh.
That was on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We came back Tuesday morning. Becca came in early with me, and we like trashed the cafeteria. We put red ribbon. We made it look like, so we have this little wooden sleigh that they just perfectly fit in. And so we made it look like they hooked a spool of ribbon on the back of their sleigh and flew it all around the cafeteria, leaving ribbon all over everywhere, like way up high in the rafters and shit. And so there's ribbon all over the place. And the kids come in, and they're like, oh my God, it was so great. I love this time of year. I love the joy of like the magic of Christmas, the wonder and excitement, and yes, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But there is fun to be had, and it is a tool in learning some critical thinking and testing hypotheses, and we used it with our kids as I want you to question. I want you to my mother to this day will still say there's a Santa Claus, but when my kids figured it out, we were like, okay, you figured it out. Now you get to be a Santa. Now you're on the other side.
The jig is up, because there is some magic and wonderment of believing in magic.
Mm-hmm.
And now, but even now that as an adult that it isn't real, it's still magic.
Yeah.
But you don't like live by it. The kids, it's a thing that we understand that kids are going to grow out of. But while they're young and while their minds and lives aren't tainted, let them believe that this is amazing and this stuff is magic.
Yep. Neil deGrasse Tyson famously tells the story of his daughter and how she figured out the tooth fairy. That she was just like, I don't think the tooth fairy is real. And he was like, I don't know. Why? I heard that if you put your tooth under the pillow, the tooth fairy comes and leaves you money in the middle of the night. That's what I heard. And so she's like, she set traps and did all of this elaborate stuff to try to catch the tooth fairy.
That's a scientist's child. Yeah.
Yep. And finally at the end, she was like, nah, it's all bullshit. It's you. I know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Like she did the work and figured it out and, employed the critical thinking skills and the skepticism and figured it out. And that's what I wanted my kids to do.
Yeah. Because logically, It had to be him because
Mhm.
that's the only thing that made sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want you to go, how can a fat man who lives in the North Pole get
Get down
around
a
to everybody's house and get down a chimney? And what about kids' houses? What, they don't have chimneys. And what about the kids who don't get Santa Claus gifts? Huh, what's that all about? Like, I want you to ask questions and figure it out.
Yeah, I would be just that's the fun of it as an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
It's like, and you got to just like make up shit, and they'll keep you on your toes
Yeah.
until eventually you can't make it up anymore, and
Yep.
then the jig is up.
Yes.
But that is where that logic and reasoning start to develop.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yep. And there is a corner of the atheist community that is big mad that anybody would do Santa because isn't teaching your kids that a magical imaginary fat man comes down your chimney and leaves you gifts the same as telling them that there's a God who created everything and he killed his son on a cross for your sins and he loves you and he can answer your prayers and all of this stuff. And the difference for me is when my kids come to me and say, I don't think this Santa thing is real, I go, you're right. You figured it out. Good job. Now you get to be a Santa to other people.
Mm-hmm.
When Christians ask, I don't think this God thing, I'm starting to question it. I don't really know. Nobody ever says, you're right. The answer is always, you can't doubt. You have to believe. There's no, you have to. You dig in deeper. And maybe you're just reading the Bible wrong, or maybe
There's something in you that's wrong
Yeah.
if you don't believe in my like made up stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. The difference is I use it as a tool of discovery to try to teach critical thinking. And when they figure it out, I tell them the truth. And that's what makes it different. But imagine if
In a world.
Imagine if you were able to like go back in time to before electricity.
Oh.
With the things that, when we talk about this all the time on the show.
Ancient aliens, hello. I mean, hello. This is why I love this fucking show. Not because I believe any of it, but because they delve into all these ancient civilizations and what it would have taken for them to like build a on behalf of a god or build something incredible and kill many people in the making of these things. They just enslaved people and made them work and build these things, these monuments, because they believed in some sort of god. What would it take? What did you see to make you do that? And that's where I just find all of that stuff so interesting. But yeah, if we went back, like we got this is magic.
Yes,
The cell phone is magic.
Yep.
A cigarette, something as simple as a cigarette lighter to get fired, that's magic. A watch is magic. Everything, it's magic.
And if you believe in magic, let's go explore the magic this week on Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3, Episode 4, Who Watches the Watchers?
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? Got something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir.
It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse comm.
Number one, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number one, keep them out of my way.
This week, we're headed to Mintaka 3 to assist some anthropologists who are studying the Proto-Vulcan Bronze Age people there.
Oh, goodness.
The D will be bringing some supplies and also conduct some repairs on their reactor because it turns out these particular researchers are hiding in a duck blind using holographic technology that requires a lot of power.
4.2 gigawatts of power to keep hidden.
1.21 gigawatts!
So their little duck blind looks like a rock, and the native people don't know they're there.
On the bridge, Troy says they're reportedly a peaceful and very rational people, which makes sense because they're very similar to Vulcans in their evolution. The research station blows in a call because the reactor has completely failed now, and their battery backup will only last 3 hours. So Data suggests punching it up to Warp 7 to get there in 23 minutes. At this point, and I know we'll address this later, but at this point, why do we not maximum warp everywhere we need to go?
I don't know. Is it something to do with conserving power? I have no idea. They should maximum warp everywhere, but they don't.
Yeah.
Only when they need to be there. I have no idea. Too late, though, because as they're talking, there's a explosion, and it's now become critical that they get there. One guy climbs through a now exposed window.
And outside, we see part of Vasquez Rock's shimmer as the hollow projection fails. And now the research station is visible.
Is it really? Is that at Vasquez Rocks? Do
Yes.
we know? Do you know?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So one of the researchers climbs out the window and rolls down the mountainside, and then the call is dropped. And Picard orders increase to Warp 9 into the theme.
According to Dr. Barron's preliminary reports, the Mintakans are proto-Vulcan humanoids at the Bronze Age level. Quite peaceful and highly rational.
Riker, Geordi, Data, Crusher, and some unknown medic beams in. There's still electricity crackling, and Geordi mentions that the framework, basically the building, is some sort of metal, and it's still charged. So, like, don't touch anything because you'll get a shock.
Wouldn't something like this be grounded? A facility like this would surely be grounded.
You would think,
Yeah.
but hey, where's the fun in that? Because it sets us up for a great
A great
scene.
bit later, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Riker looks out the window, not really seeing anything but landscape, but cut back to the outside, and we see two Mintakans coming up the hill, talking about reading a sundial. This is Liko and his daughter OG. Liko is played by Ray Wise, who Allie knows as VP Hal Gardner on 24.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks, of course. Everyone knows him from.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a credits a mile long, but we will see him again in Star Trek Voyager as well. OG is played by Pamela Segal, now Pamela Adlon, a prolific voice actor. She is the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill.
No way!
Bobby, I tell you what, she's worked on Recess, Rugrats, Bobby's World, Phineas and Ferb, Bob's Burgers. I swear, if you've turned on a TV, you've probably heard her voice.
Wow.
Yeah. I had no idea that's who this was.
Me either. I didn't read Memory Alpha.
I didn't either. I looked her up on IMDb.
Nice. Man, she was on Californication. She was on Grease 2 in the 80s.
Right? That's kind of how she got her kicked off her career, I think, was Grease 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Pamela.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, OG has recently been hired as the appointed record keeper, which is why, despite having read this sundial hundreds of times, today's reading is more important. And as they arrive at this spherical bronze sundial contraption atop a stone base, we learn that her mother is no longer with them, but her father thinks she would be quite proud.
As she's doing her readings of the sundial, she sees like a little glint in the distance up on the hill, and she's like, "What is that up there?" And her dad doesn't know, but they go to try to figure it out. Nothing worse than curious natives. So back in the duck blind, Crusher sees Baron slumped over a desk. She gives him a shot of something, and he wakes up, and he's still thinking that he wakes up talking, keep work, Palmer. And she has to like calm him down. It's okay. The generator's now functioning, and then they're just working on getting the power, so they're almost there.
Unfortunately, Liko has climbed the Vasquez Rocks all the way up to the window of the research facility, and gazing inside, he sees Nurse UC and the researcher disappear in a transporter beam. Prime Directive contamination level 100.
Fuck.
The Prime Directive. How often have you broken it?
See, the Prime Directive has many different functions.
The Prime Directive
is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
It's a very interesting proposition. Let me think it over.
Data turns and notices Liko, which startles him, and he places his hands on the side of the window frame, and he gets lit up like a fucking Christmas tree and falls back, keeping in our theme for today, and falls back down the mountain.
How many Christmas jokes and analogies can we make?
So Liko is like twitching on the ground when OG comes out of her hiding place to check on him. But hearing Dr. Crusher coming down, she retreats back into hiding, where now she sees Dr. Crusher and her father disappear in a transporter beam. Fuck.
Yeah, she scans Liko and then she knows she's going to have to save his life. So off they go to sickbay.
Geordi powers the generator back up. The duck blind hollow reestablishes, but OG saw that too. And she climbs up to where the window was and starts feeling around the rock.
Back in sickbay, Crusher is basically treating everybody, Baron and anybody else who was injured in the explosion. Picard comes in, stops at the bed where he sees the native, and he is PISS tuh. And he goes to Dr. Crusher, and she's like, look, before don't even fucking quote me, Prime Directive. I know he'd already seen us, and it was our fault. And it was either bring him aboard or let him die. And then Picard says, why didn't you let him die? What?
Right?
I was like, no, we would never do that. I say we.
Right.
She would never do that.
Then Picard's like, hey, last season, our substitute doctor did this one weird trick to erase short-term memory. We probably should have never introduced that in the first place. But now that it's canon, you better figure out a way to do that on this Mintakan dude. And I love the way Gates plays this. She puts so much stank on the line. I am familiar with Dr. Pulaski's technique.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
The Men in Black bullshit, the flashy thing. She go flashy thing. But she can't guarantee it's going to be effective because their brain chemistry is different.
Suddenly, Dr. Baron comes to, and he's freaking out. Baron is played by James Green. He was in Nowhere to Run, Patch Adams, and we'll see him a few more times in Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
Cool.
And Baron wants to know where his teammates are, and Picard explains that Warren is here on the D, but Palmer is still down on the planet somewhere. And during this, Liko, who's laying in a nearby bio bed, wakes up and listens in on this conversation. And I love the way they shot this. When the camera switches to Liko's point of view, they've got a soft focus lens on, which obviously signals some brain trauma or whatever, but it also gives this incredibly ethereal, like afterlife glow to what he's seeing. And he thinks he's just died and gone to heaven. And he sits up a little bit and he watches Picard walk away from Baron's bio bed. And Picard calls up Worf on the bridge and gives some orders to get into a closer orbit because they haven't been able to detect any human life on the planet. And they banter about how it'll only improve sensor efficiency about 4%, but Picard wants any advantage they can get. And this is shot so the framing again, it's the soft focus, but Picard has he's got the big round light in the top of the ceiling. Yes. And it looks very angelic. Yeah.
Ding dong merrily on high. Picard, as he hangs up the phone with Worf, he says Picard out. And Liko, just barely conscious, he's like, Picard. And Crusher's like, fuck. and gives him a shot. And Picard's like, well, you know what you got to do. You know what you got to do now.
Speaking of putting stank on lines, Sir Patrick lashes out at Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Having apparently performed Pulaski's brain and brain what is brain wipe, Liko is beamed back to Vasquez Rocks, where he wakes up and begins calling for his daughter. And she's nearby and comes to him, excited to see him alive. She's like, man, when you and that woman vanished, I was sure you were dead. Does Liko say, what woman? Vanish? That's crazy talk. Nope. He remembers pretty much everything.
God damn it. He's like, I think I was dead. He doesn't know the difference between being unconscious and being dead. And So he thinks he was in the afterlife. Oh, God. And he was in an incredible place, and his wounds were gone, and I have been healed. Oh, Jesus.
He explains to his very confused daughter that long ago, before the Age of Enlightenment, their people believed in all sorts of crazy shit. Beings with great powers that made the rains fall, told the sun when to rise. They believed there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day, and the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
He loves you. He loves you, and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money.
God, I love George Carlin. George Carlin is the best.
Yep. And you better not touch your pee-pee.
Yep.
Or
or think about it. Yeah.
Or think about it, or sleep with anyone of the same gender.
Yep. OG thinks this is all just silly superstitions of primitive goat herders who didn't know where the sun went at night. But it seems like her father has seen the light, and he's ready to rush off and proclaim the good news to everyone else. There's a star in the east.
Oh my God, this is...
Now that he's here, you must remove all memory of his encounter with the away team.
By erasing short-term recall.
It has been accomplished before.
I am familiar with Dr. Pulaski's technique.
They're in the observation lounge in a huddle. Got a huddle. Crusher says that Baron is stable. Warren, one of the other anthropologists, is still critical. Palmer is missing, and they can't find him on the planet with a scan. But Data thinks that because of the rocks and the sinkholes and the underground caves and all this shit, that's disrupting their sensors. So Palmer could be in a cave, injured somewhere, but they wouldn't be able to detect it. He might need medical attention. Riker has a great idea. Let's pretend that she's the Virgin Mary and he's Joseph, and they're gonna beam down to the planet dressed in the clothing of the natives, and just pretend to be one of them. So Dr. Crusher has been able to alter their skin color, give them the pointy ears and the eyebrows, and then she's implanted subcutaneous communicators so that they can receive transmissions and not be caught by the Mintakans.
Put a pin in that for later.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quibble. Riker and Troy beam down to the Vasquez Rocks playset. And this is a fun, playful little scene.
Mm-hmm.
Riker checks in to make sure comms are working, and Data says he's going to monitor everything, which is hilarious because the next thing that happens is Troy playfully skips in front of Riker as they begin walking, and she explains that Mintakan women walk in front of their mates as a signal that if you want his services, you got to come through me. And Riker's like, what kind of services? And Troy playfully replies, all kinds. You know the whole bridge heard this whole thing because Data's monitoring. So they got it on speakerphone up there, and Worf is probably up on the bridge like, Jesus, get a room already.
She's his pimp.
Yes. Ugh. And that never pays off. I would love for there to have been one scene where, you know, some Mintakan woman comes up to her like, so tell me about your man.
How much for the mail? Nope.
They arrive at the settlement where Liko and OG are well into their "Do you have a moment to hear about my Lord and Savior Space Jesus" speech. They are obviously encountering some atheist skepticism, and they employ the anecdotal fallacy or argument from personal experience. I was there. I saw, you know. One of the elders, Fento, played by John McLiam of Cool Hand Luke fame, First Blood he was in.
Rambo?
Yeah. Finto is like, yeah, well, there was this old legend about an overseer who could appear and disappear at will. That sounds kind of like what you said. And yeah, our ancestors believed he could heal the dead. Liko's like, I have seen Space Jesus. He is called the Picard. And Troy and Riker are like, fuck.
Oh my God. And the procedure, memory procedure, the brain and brain wipe, what is brain? Didn't work.
Nope, not one bit. Another woman in the gathered group speaks. This is Nuria, played by Catherine Lee Scott, who was Catherine in the 1974 film The Great Gatsby. And she went on to make the rounds in all kinds of classic 80s shows. Nuria's like, Liko, you sound like a crazy person. You know that, right? Like, nobody has believed any of this nonsense for countless generations, just like we no longer believe that the stars control our fates, or dead people's spirits walk among us, or a big fat man comes down the chimney to leave us presents once a year. But he is convinced.
But I saw him. He saw Santa. He swears he saw him. He did see the Picard, and he was restored back to life. And Troy and Riker think this is a good time to like introduce themselves. So they're like, hey, by the way, we're visitors. Is there any room at the inn? I'm sorry.
I brought some frankincense, and my lady friend here brought some myrrh. Don't know if that's what y'all are into or not.
They're really cool that they, like, come on in and tell us, what your thoughts are. And she goes, well, you've had an interesting dream. And Liko takes offense. He's like, this wasn't a dream. This was real. And then OG says, I saw the same thing, or I witnessed these beings too. And Troy's like, well, if you're father and daughter, then you witnessed the same dream. She's trying to like just brush it off as hysterics. Like they're both father and daughter, so they have a shared hysteric dream or something. But Liko comes back and says that's not reasonable. Are you telling me that the shit you're saying is reasonable?
Exactly. It's not clear if they're making any real progress here, but whatever progress they might have been making is immediately trashed as a couple of men come in carrying Palmer, which of course Liko knows about from being on the D and hearing his name, and now the others are starting to believe as well. Why was Palmer's face all gray? Like, at first I couldn't tell if he was supposed to look like necrosis or something, or if this was like some substance smeared on his face, or he got electrocuted and burned his skin or something. It looked really, really gray.
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is they just tried to make him dirty because he'd been crawling around in rocks in caves, and I don't know.
Okay. Pull that pin out from the communicators, because this is fucking stupid. The Mintakans all race over to see the man being carried in, and Riker and Troy like turn away from the crowd, and Riker says, Riker to Picard, you fucking get? Why would you say that name at all out loud ever while you're down here?
Why not try to whisper?
Yeah, I know there's a lot going on and maybe nobody heard, but there's also a decent chance somebody turns around and goes, wait, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. Riker to Enterprise, Riker to anything but Picard.
Or Data, because he's the one listening. Something. Yeah.
And also, I thought the D was monitoring this comms channel the whole time.
True. Yeah.
But no, Riker calls up to Picard to let him know, hey, good news, bad news. Bad news, the contamination is a lot worse than we thought. Good news, congratulations, you're a god.
Mintakan emotions are quite interesting. Like the Vulcans, they have highly ordered minds, a very sensible people. For example, Mintakan women precede their mates. It's a signal to other women.
This man's taken, get your own?
Not precisely. More like, if you want his services, I'm the one you have to negotiate with.
What kind of services?
All kinds.
They are a sensible race.
In sickbay, apparently Picard has let Baron know what's going on. And he's like, you've got to bring Palmer back immediately. He's going to die without medical attention. But Picard is like, well, there's the culture of contamination. And, he's surrounded by Mintakans. We can't just yoink him out of there. But Baron is like, well, the damage is already done. We just need to save his life. So Picard calls down to Riker and say, like, you need to figure out a way to get him up there without anyone seeing him.
And of course, Baron isn't satisfied with that plan either. But Picard reminds him, look, we all took an oath to uphold the Prime Directive with our lives, including Dr. Palmer.
And we'll die if necessary. We'll die.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give our life. We'll sacrifice our own son. I'm sorry. That was bad.
Wrong holiday, first of all.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
That's
that is
Easter.
wrong. Sorry. My bad.
Back on the planet, another man named Halley, played by James McIntyre, who made the rounds in 80s TV and played a minor role in one of my favorite movies, Good Morning Vietnam. I used to be able to do the entire Good Morning Vietnam. And then he goes on that whole like, just one thing after another, like rip fire. I used to be able to do that whole opening.
Yeah,
I don't remember the words now. Yeah. He's talking about how they found Palmer asleep in a cave while they were out hunting. And this leads the group into a discussion about Palmer. Is he a servant of the Overseer? Did he fail the Picard in some way, leading to him hiding in this cave? Like, their imaginations are running wild now, and Riker again tries to talk some sense into them. Of course, this doesn't work, as Nuria argues that the evidence points to the Overseer existing. And this sends them off again, talking about, do we keep Palmer here to please the Picard? Maybe he'll grant us some favors. After all, he is all powerful.
As you said, their imaginations have run completely wild, and they're making all of these parallels and assumptions with no proof whatsoever, and they're assuming they know what the Picard wants. They have no idea.
So Troy comes in and makes up some bullshit story about seeing another person, like Palmer, headed toward the caves. So everybody leaves to get their torches and pitchforks, and Liko instructs Fento to stay behind and tie Palmer up so he can't get away if he wakes up. This is one of those moments, Allie, where Kirk and Spock would be left with a couple of goons guarding Palmer, and Spock would drop one of them with a neck pinch, and Kirk would two-fisted karate chop the other. This ain't your daddy's Star Trek.
Yeah. Riker's left behind with Fento and Palmer, and he's helping Fento tie up Palmer. He's like, look, let me show you a better knot. Like, I'm going to show you how to tie him up and he won't come loose.
Can we also just take a moment to recognize that Riker has some rope game? If you know what I mean. I know how to tie him up and he won't be able to get out.
Oh my God. Imzadi and him play, they who knows what they get up to. As they go on their witch hunt, OG breaks away and says, Father, I've got to go count the freaking sun or do whatever she's got to do to be a record keeper. So she breaks away from the group and she's got to go measure. So meanwhile, they switch back to Riker and he somehow gagged Bento. He's tied him up instead, and he does ask for forgiveness, but he says the stranger needs to be set free.
Riker scoops up Palmer and they go up the stairs.
Fireman's carry.
Palmer's this first one, he's like got him on the shoulder. He's on the side. And he is clearly taking steps of his own up the stairs.
Right.
Like that pulled me out a little bit. Like, is he unconscious or not? Because he's walking.
He's sort of unconscious. He can walk if Riker was dragging him, but I guess it's too slow because then he takes him on his shoulder and puts him in a fireman's carry. And so he's gonna get out of I don't know why they didn't just anyway
walk out the door instead of going upstairs and then back downstairs.
Right.
They could have just walked outside.
Or just in some room where Fento couldn't see.
Yeah.
And then beam him out. But
yeah.
So Riker needs to get him away so that they can beam him directly to sickbay. So he gets him outside. He calls the Enterprise and says, lock on and prepare to beam, but wait for my signal. That's when OG, who is broke off from the group to go do her measurements of the sun, sees Riker. And then she's like, Daddy, I'm telling, and she's like, so she alerts people that Riker has kidnapped Palmer. And so they all go chase after him, and he has to carry Palmer a little bit further than he intended to get away from everybody, because they're gonna shoot him with their bows.
Yeah, and now they're holding Troy captive, and Hallie, you'll remember, is a hunter, so
Mhm.
he's got his bow, and he chases Riker, and he almost gets a clear shot at Riker, but Riker stuffs Palmer into this carve-out in the rock, and as Hallie rounds the corner headed towards them, they beam out unnoticed. I thought that was a fun moment.
Yeah. It reminds me of, okay, so in the spring when it gets warm, we'll have to go out to Red Rocks with our
Yes,
uniforms
yes.
and do some stupid crazy stuff like that.
Fuck yeah. I am all in.
Okay.
In sickbay, Riker calls Data to check on Troy, but she's still on the planet in a group of Mintakans. So now Riker knows, shit, now we have to go save her. But meanwhile on the planet, they're freeing Finto, and they ask Troy why she and Riker took Palmer. And Troy's like, we didn't take him. We set him free. We don't believe in this ridiculous god tales from your dusty old book or whatever. And here the D is monitoring comms and
Mhm.
hearing all of this. The Mintakans think maybe they need to punish Troy to please the Picard. He's probably angry at her for letting Palmer go.
And again, they're just assuming, they're making assumptions with no basis at all of what the Picard wants. They have no clue. They're just wildly making assumptions.
And the evidence that they pull in is very tenuous. Again, it's like some old hand-me-down stories about the overseer destroying those who offended him. Nothing concrete.
But at least Bento he's the older one, and he's like, there's stories. Nothing more. So he doesn't really believe Liko either.
So Liko wants to punish Troy. Nuria argues that holding her captive should be enough. She's not prepared to needlessly hurt someone. But if Hallie returns without Palmer, she may be persuaded to Liko's position. One of the best scenes in Star Trek happens in the conference room as Picard and Riker consult with Dr. Barron about the Mintakans. He suggests that since they believe Picard is a god, maybe God should just come down and give his people some guidelines, set some expectations. Hell, the Prime Directive is already well and broken. What's there to lose? Besides, if we don't, then this will turn into a full-on religion, and left to their own imaginations about God, it could lead to inquisitions, holy wars, and chaos.
Yep.
But Picard holds the line. Millennia ago, these people abandoned their belief in the supernatural. Now you are asking me to sabotage that achievement, to send them back into the dark ages of superstition and ignorance and fear? No. We will find some way to undo the damage we've caused. One of the best scenes in Star Trek. I love it.
Yeah, he refuses to sanction their false beliefs. And so he asks Riker about the group's leader, Nuria. And he does say that, she's clear-minded, she's sensible, the Mintakans trust her judgment, she seems logical, she doesn't seem hysterical. And so he's like, maybe if we convince her that you're not a god, then maybe she can talk to everyone else. And Barron is like, well, how do you propose to do that? And he says, well, I'm going to show her how the magic works. I'm going to bring her aboard.
Did you know before this moment that Nuria was the leader?
No.
I didn't either. It was very unclear.
I didn't even think it was Liko, really. I just thought, I didn't know it was her.
They didn't make it clear who the leader was. Yeah. They seemed very sort of egalitarian. Even you might have expected Finto as an elder to be like the leader because he's the older person in the group or whatever. But yeah. Strange. On the bridge, Picard, Riker, and Data call down Troy, who is still surrounded by Mintakans. And Data tries to narrow down which one of the Mintakans around her is Nuria. But because Troy can't say yes or no, she has to make and noises. And of course, Data's like, what the fuck is this supposed to mean?
So, yeah, he's asking her questions like, where is Nuria in all of these people? Is she the closest of the 5 people? No. Is she in motion? Yes. So they're going to lock sensors on her. And then when no one's around, they're going to yoink her basically, what is it when abduct? Basically, she's gonna be abducted by aliens.
Alien abduction, yes. That reminded me of the game Guess Who. Did you ever play that one? Where it's like, does your person have glasses?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person says yes or no, and then you can eliminate people based on what is Nuria the one closest to you? No. Click. They figure out which one Nuria is, get a lock on her, and as soon as she's alone, they're going to beam her up. So Picard heads down to the transporter room, where he dismisses the ensign at the transporter controls, and as soon as Nuria is alone, he transports her up. And of course, she is very confused about what is happening, but Picard calls her by name and tells her she won't be harmed. And she tries to ask who he is, and he introduces himself, Jean-Luc ... Picard. And of course, she falls into worship pose immediately.
Comes the Picard.
First of all, why would you have called her by name? That signals I know who you are, and then you say your name, Picard. God damn it!
I know. Well, he did pause because he knew what it was. The can of worms he was about to open before he said his name.
Dr. Barron, your report describes how rational these people are. Millennia ago, they abandoned their belief in the supernatural. Now you are asking me to sabotage that achievement, to send them back into the dark ages of superstition and ignorance and fear? No!
He's like, bitch, get up. Get off your knees. You don't need to be on. You do not need to be on your knees for me.
We only do get on your knees when there's like mutual consent.
Right, exactly. But he's like, I am not. Look at me here. Feel the warmth of my hand. I mean, come on. But he does take her hand. He's like, I've got a pulse. I'm not a supreme being. I'm flesh and blood like you. But she's insisted he's not like her. He's like, yes, even though I'm a different species, we're both living beings. We both live and die. We're alike in all the things that matter. But she tells him who he is. She's like, but you are the Picard. Like, you're there in the presence of who you think is a god.
Yeah.
And they're telling you that they're not a god. And you still don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. This frustrated me so much because I don't know, past trauma. This whole scene, I was so mad. But he leads her out and he's gonna show her the magic. So she even thinks like the opening of the door. She's like, ooh, even the walls obey your command. And again, magic.
Yeah, he's like, it's a door. Doors just work differently here.
It's a fucking door.
In the conference room, Nuria sees her world from space, and she thinks this is also a wondrous god power. So Picard's like, okay, let's try some logic here. Your people live in huts. Did they always live in huts? And Nuria's like, no, we found tools in caves. So logically, our ancestors probably lived in the caves.
Mm-hmm.
And Picard's like, yeah, so why live in huts now? And she's like, well, huts are better. Caves are dark and wet. And Picard says, well, if huts are better, why did you ever live in caves? And she answers that the most reasonable explanation must be that at one time, they didn't know how to make huts. And Picard's like, yeah, just like one time you didn't know how to weave cloth or make a bow. And she's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's reasonable. This is great stuff. This is like real rational thinking processes happening here. Picard says someone invented a hut. Someone invented a bow. Who taught others? Who taught their children? Who built a stronger hut? Who built a better bow? Who taught their children? Now, suppose one of your cave-dwelling ancestors could see you as you are today. What would she think? She's like, I hadn't really thought about that. I'm not sure. And so Picard's like, put yourself in her place. Like, she can't kill a hornbuck at a great distance. You can. That would probably seem like a great power that she lacks, right? And Nuria is like, well, that's just because I have a bow. And Picard says, exactly. She's never seen a bow. To you, it's a simple tool. To her, it's magic. Now it seems like maybe she's starting to see.
Yep. And Picard is like, so what would she think if she saw you? And Nuria says, well, I suppose she would probably fear me. And Picard is like, just as you fear me. And Nuria says that, well, okay, I don't fear you any longer. And Picard thinks, good, I'm getting through to her,
Yeah. Yep.
And he says, my people lived in caves once, and we learned to build huts, and now look at us now. we're up in the fucking sky. And she says, well, maybe one day my people will travel the skies. And I thought, okay, she gets it.
Yeah, breakthrough. Yep.
Yeah.
No, not today, though. There's a nasty storm brewing, both in the skies and among the Mintakans. Liko and OG are convinced that this massive lightning storm must mean something, that Picard is angry or something. And Fento still seems to have some rationality to him, but Liko and OG have gone off the deep end with this overseer shit.
Fento's like, dude, it's a storm, okay? It's not a big fucking deal. It's just a storm.
But it's interesting how they're trying to rationalize all these things and make them make sense in their worldview. Like, yeah, but this isn't the time when we get storms. Like, this is not the normal time of year.
Yeah. And I like the way that the showrunners actually do this, because this is how it happens.
Yeah.
So you've got this inkling in your brain that there's some higher power, but then the minute something happens that's out of the ordinary, well, God, the Picard did it. You know what I mean? And that's how that thinking starts. And then Liko is like kind of still mourning his wife who died in the floods last year. And so he's got some trauma attached to that too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's wondering, okay, is Picard angry? Are we all going to die now because of, you're going to send the floods? Oh, the floods.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to rain 40 days and 40 nights?
Back when I was a Christian,
there's
a Christian band called Jars of Clay in the 90s. And
sounds familiar.
They did a song called Flood. Rain, rain on my face.
Oh, my face.
It hasn't stopped raining for days. But if I can't swim after 40 days and my mind is crushed by the crashing waves, lift me up so high that I cannot fall, lift me up.
Yeah.
I was big into, I played this on the guitar. I was big into
nice
Jars of Clay. And where the hell did Nuria go? Nobody knows where Nuria is.
Yeah. Well, they didn't think about her until later. Meanwhile, she's like hamming it up with the aliens.
She's fondling Picard's little model of the Stargazer in the ready room. She's like, you've shown me so many wonders. And speaking of wonder, I wonder if you'd bring 6 people who died in a flood last year back to life.
He's like, didn't you hear anything I fucking said?
She's like, but before them were children, in case that moves the needle for you at all. And Picard's like, oh my God, I don't have that power. But she's like, she saw Liko's life restored, and now she's slipping back into the all-powerful God problem. Did the 6 who died offend you somehow? Did I offend you? Should we have killed Troy? Please, God, please, I'll do anything you ask. And Picard's just like, Jesus Christ, I can't get through to this woman.
Back on the planet, that's when they finally realize Nuria is nowhere to be seen. And Hallie can't find Palmer or Riker. They've searched everywhere. And Liko decides, okay, we have to do as the Picard, and punish Troy. But Fento is like, wait, Nuria is not going to let you just kill her. Well, Nuria ain't here. So he asks Hallie for his bow.
The only one gets pleased when Troy gets punished is Riker.
Exactly.
What do you think their safe word is?
It's not Imzadi.
It can't be Imzadi, yeah.
Gosh.
Well, unless that's like the inside joke. Maybe that is the safe word.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Suppose one of your cave-dwelling ancestors were to see you as you are today. What would she think?
I don't know.
Well, put yourself in her place. You see, She cannot kill a hornbuck at a great distance. You can. You have a power she lacks.
Only because I have a bow.
She has never seen a bow. It doesn't exist in her world. To you, it's a simple tool. To her, it's magic.
I suppose she might think so.
Now, how would she react to you?
I think she would fear me.
Just as you fear me.
In sickbay, Dr. Warren's gone from critical to just about dead, and Baron is by her side. And I don't think I did her thing, did I?
Oh no, we forgot about Warren. Poor Warren. I mean, she didn't really get a lot of time.
Mary Warren, played by Lois Hall. Yeah, she's an old school actor. 1948 was when she got her start.
Wow.
Bunch of shit I've never heard in the 40s and 50s.
She didn't look that old.
Episode of Dick Tracy.
Hmm.
A lot of Westerns, of course, just because of the time. Lone Ranger. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers she was in. Uncredited.
I remember that show. That movie.
Annie Oakley. Some after school specials. Gone in 60 Seconds. She was an old woman in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Mm-hmm.
CSI. She did an episode of CSI in 2003. Cold Case, 6 Feet Under, Nip Tuck. Yeah. The Unit.
I just, oh, wow. Nip Tuck. Nip Tuck was a good show.
So Dr. Warren has gone from critical to just about dead, and Baron is by her side. Crusher calls Picard, who arrives with Nuria to witness Dr. Warren's death as Dr. Baron collapses onto her in grief.
Oh my God! They've killed
Dr. Warren.
you, bastards!
Nuria reaches out and touches her neck, and I assume she's just looking for a pulse and feeling none. She realizes that Picard is not limitless. And he explains, yeah, we can cure a lot of diseases, xenopolychlamydia. We can repair a lot of injuries, even extend life sometimes. But in the end, we're just as mortal as all y'all. And now it seems like maybe she gets it, although we've been fooled by that before.
Mm-hmm.
But she says, you are a remarkable people, but you are not superior beings. My people must be made to understand that. Just in time, too, because down on the planet, Liko has his bow aimed at Troy.
Troy trying not to die. Okay, she's just trying not to die. And she's like, you don't want to kill me.
Are you sure that's what the Picard wants? Maybe what he wants is for you to let me go. See, that's the problem with believing in God, trying to figure out what he wants.
There's nothing that's going to tell you. If you're hearing voices, there's something else going on. But nobody ever says, hey, I need you to do this. And even the signs are vague.
No, and it's you interpreting signs in a way that probably reinforces your already existent worldview.
Right. Exactly.
So,
your own fear, your own worldview, your own wants as far as what you want to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nobody's God ever really disagrees with them.
Yeah.
Turns out. Liko thinks they've got to do something, but now OG is wondering what happens if they do the wrong thing and piss off the Picard even more. So Liko aims again, looks to the sky, and asks for Picard's divine guidance, and right on cue, Picard and Nuria walk around the corner. Of course, Liko believes that the Overseer has come, and now we have to start this conversation all over again, trying to convince them of reality. But Liko proves much more difficult to convince than Nuria, even though she tells him that he wasn't really dead, just wounded in a way that their people couldn't heal. There's no magic here. In fact, she says she has seen how they live and die. When death takes one of their loved ones, they are as helpless as we are. But the hope of seeing his dead wife alive again makes it much more difficult to break the supernatural belief. And like a lot of God believers, he pleads with his God, why won't you do this? Have I failed you in some way? Are you mad at me? I will trade my life for her as anything. Please just let her live.
Are you not listening?
No.
Ugh.
No, they're not.
Again, they're wanting what they want, and they're going to get it. somehow. But Picard says, no, I can't do this. I'm not angry with you. It's beyond my power. But Liko insists that nothing's beyond your power. Like, why won't you listen to the God that you supposedly believe in?
Right.
And he's like, you're the overseer. I'll prove it. And he's gonna basically shoot Picard and prove that he can't kill him. And Nuria's like, are you out your goddamn mind? But no, Picard's like, no, it's okay. If you believe I am all powerful and that you can't hurt me, then fine. But if I'm telling the truth, then and you shoot that arrow, you'll kill me. And so I guess the only proof that you'll believe is my death, and I'm gonna have to let you kill me. Nuria tries to stop him. OG tries to stop him, but he shoots, and OG jumps in and kind of deflects his arm and ends up shooting Picard in the shoulder with the arrow. And Nuria holds up her bloodstained hand and says, look, okay? And then he finally realizes, and he's almost killed his god. He's almost killed a living being, and he bursts into tears.
Picard records a log. Crusher patched him up good as new, and Geordi will be dismantling the observation post. But before they leave, he visits the Mintakans one last time. His arm is in a sling now, which is not something you ever see in Star Trek. You wave the flashy light thing over the injury and it's done, right?
Yeah, it heals the bones, and they don't have any sort of soreness or anything, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, Picard calls Geordi to shut down the holo generator, revealing the outpost to the group of Mintakans gathered there, and explains that it was there to observe them without being seen, study them, understand their ways. Nuria is surprised that an advanced people would have any interest in them, but Picard explains, we were once a lot like you, and to study you then is to understand ourselves, where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
When Finto asks why they felt the need to hide, Liko answers, well, their presence would have affected us like it did me. So Picard gives a rudimentary explanation of the PD and then slaps his knee as he stands up like, well, we really must be going and leave you to progress in your own way. Nuria says, you have taught us that nothing is beyond our reach. And Picard adds, not even the stars. And then for some reason, one of the young boys gives Picard some woven trinket to put in his ready room on the shelf with the other knickknacks. And Nuria takes him by the hand and wishes him good journeys. And off we go to the next adventure.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
This is such a Star Trek. It's a great story. It's great TV, but it's outstanding Star Trek.
It is. And I bet like people who are religious might like this episode. I would wonder how a religious person might see this episode.
Right.
I would like to know, like, what do you think of this episode? Do you see yourself in any of these characters?
I wish my memory were better because I don't have memory of watching this episode for the first time.
Me either. I wish I did.
I know. I wish you could just put some electricity into my brain and make it remember shit. Like, I don't know if the first watch is when I really started to digest what it was saying, or if that came later. Just I have shitty memory. But I can say today that this episode really made me think about the question, what would it take to convince an extremely rational person to believe something entirely irrational? And it was interesting to me that these people were observed to be highly rational by the observation team, and yet it didn't really take much for them to fall to the hysteria of the overseer, the Picard.
It just
like
takes one person. One person to spread that shit. Like, literally, because even Finto was not buying it. But Pinto wasn't being strong enough to, in my opinion, he was just like, maybe you're wrong. If
Mhm.
he really didn't believe, and I feel like we have a responsibility of like, if this is bullshit, you need to say so. But I don't know if it was his age or whatever, but he didn't stand up enough.
Yeah. Yeah, he was there to tell the old tales of the, the before times and what the people used to believe. But
Right.
then I feel like you're right. I feel like he should have said, but that's all just nonsense. And we know that.
Yeah.
Like he should have been as the elder of the group or whatever.
Nipped it in the
Yeah.
bud because they were
Yeah.
about to go on a spree.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're gonna go house to house and mark people's fucking doors and shit and start killing people. I mean,
Yeah.
if people don't speak out, that's how this fanaticism starts, this cultism stuff starts. One person believes in it so strongly that they're willing to either kill someone else, and if other people stand by and watch, then I feel like you're complicit as well.
This episode didn't really beat us over the head with here's how you argue a believer out of their belief type
Yeah.
of atheism, but it made some really compelling rational arguments, like Picard asking Nuria about her ancestors and, what it might be like if they encountered present day Nuria.
Mhm.
It's trying to teach and demonstrate a critical thinking skill, a process, a way of thinking. And the frustrating part being that even those rational arguments weren't really effective. Like it took a lot. When we talked about this recently, right? Like how you can't just take a stack of evidence to a God believer and go, see?
Yeah. The reason that they believe in the first place is because they want to believe.
Yeah.
Liko needed it. He not only wanted to believe, he needed to believe because he was driven by loss and trauma and grief, and he needed his wife back. He lost his wife, and I guess that affected him profoundly, and he needed to
Mhm.
believe that someone could bring him back to life.
Yeah, it really struck me how the desperation
Mhm.
really plays into this willingness to suspend rational thought. Like it's comforting to think that you'll be reunited with your loved ones again in heaven when you die because missing them hurts like hell sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's a fantasy we created to deal with that grief and pain here and now. And the belief makes it easier to go on living without them, but
Yeah.
it's just not real. And our desperation and grief makes us more susceptible to that kind of magical thinking.
That part. Yep.
Yeah. And willing to give up everything, including your own life, to achieve that fantastical promise.
Yeah.
There is some debate about the origin of this quote, but Neil deGrasse Tyson is fond of using it. You can't use reason to convince anyone out of an argument that they didn't use reason to get into.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of debate about the merits of that in atheist circles. A lot of
Mhm.
people argue that the only way to really get people out of an irrational position is to teach them how to think rationally and then apply that rational thought to the irrational position.
Mhm.
But that doesn't often work either because there are plenty of people who are otherwise quite rational, but believe in ghosts or fairies or astrology or crystals or any number of irrational things.
And they have their reasons. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Like I want people like I have no problem with people believing whatever they want to believe. But when you're about to pick up a bow and kill someone because your God told you to,
That's a
that's
problem.
where I cross the line.
Yep.
Or if you tell me I'm less of a person because your religion tells you that I am, that's where I draw the line. Or if someone dictates who someone can have sex with or what their gender, that's where I draw the line. Like if only our beliefs would just stay, if we would just keep them to our fucking selves, you know. But when we can't is when there's a problem. You
Yep.
don't get to tell people how to live. You don't get to force people to live according to your beliefs.
Well, and one thing that they did in this episode that I thought was really good was And this wasn't, it didn't seem to be baked into their traditions or anything. Like it wasn't, and you know, the old tales about the overseer also told us that we need to go out and tell everyone else about the overseer, like Christianity does, right? Built into Christianity, and more so the sects of Christianity that are cultish, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons, and like the mission is to go out and convert people to believe the crazy shit that you believe.
Right.
That is a core purpose of the religion. And I thought it was interesting here that as soon as Liko, you know, came to Jesus, he was like, I gotta fucking tell everybody about this.
Yep. This reminds me of, so I talk about another show that I watched called Stargate, and shout out to Stargate SG1 fans, because this is one of the reasons I love that show so much. That they literally, towards the end of the series, they had an alien or whatever called the Ori.
Okay.
And it perfectly illustrated the power of, I've got to tell everyone, because the Ori became more powerful the more people, they literally became more powerful the more people believed in them. They were literally they would get on their knees, and something would happen with they would like pull power from them. So, and I thought that was a perfect illustration. And if people would stop believing in them, they would lose all their power. But that is literally how they continue to grow, is because, you should watch that. That's such a great series.
One thing that I had to suspend some of my own disbelief in was how easily extremely rational, like we think of the Vulcans as being like impenetrably rational in their thinking, and just how easily, you know, Liko was kind of suckered into this, and then how quickly it spread. You know, maybe had they not made these people out to be so rational in the beginning, it might have worked a little better for me. But and then I guess my last thought is thinking about people who do believe in the supernatural or unproven things like this, God beliefs and crystals and astrology and all of that. I guess just to say that people are much more complicated than, you know, that Neil deGrasse Tyson quote or whoever said it first. And if we are to do any work toward helping people leave magical thinking behind, it has to come from a place of empathy and compassion. Far too many people, I feel, particularly in the angry atheist space, are not coming at it from that position. They're coming to it for all the wrong reasons.
They're coming to it because they've been hurt.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yep. Yeah. I feel like, and I can't remember who used to say this, but like once you become an atheist, once you shed a God belief, you should take about 5 years and just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree.
And don't just shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
listen.
I agree. 100%.
Listen, and really do some work on healing the trauma that happened to you and the anger that you're harboring. And I was lied to all my life, and you know the church hurt me in this way or whatever it is. Deal with that shit and keep your mouth shut. And then once you come through and work through your bullshit, you know, then you're coming to it from a place that's not angry and hurt. And
you've done some self-reflection, and you know why you were susceptible, and then you can have compassion for other people. But then also tolerance, because you're just going to need to accept that people are going to believe what they want to believe, even when you think you're right and you provide evidence, and they're still going to believe what they want to believe, and you need to accept that and accept them.
Yep. Well, crank up the rap. Someone died this week. Fucking finally.
That's hilarious. We only had Warren. Warren passed away. So I wrote a rhyme about it. Want to hear it?
Yes.
Here it goes.
We're here together to honor our friend and comrade. We will all find time to grieve for her in the days that are ahead. But for now, she has asked that we celebrate her life with this.
in the name of, killing in the name of, poking around on a primitive planet. A group of anthropologists. It can't hurt, can it? The reactor failed and suddenly they were exposed. Some of them injured as the place explodes. What they didn't expect, a Mitakan man saw too much, got knocked out, and threw a wrench in their plans. Back to the D, Crusher's trying to save peeps and restore the Prime Directive, cause talk is cheap. She pulled a Men in Black and tried to wipe his brain. Didn't work, back on the planet, his memories remain. He ran and told everybody he saw a god. And that's how Jean-Luc became a Picard. So they snatched up Nuria and tried to get through, but she wasn't trying to hear it. What's Picard to do? Meanwhile, Warren's dying and she can't be revived. And that's when Nuria finally realized he was just flesh and blood and he had no control over life or death. That was just not his role. Killing in the name of,
Love it.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you.
I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money.
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
And as always, we'd like to thank everyone who supports the show at patreon.com/humanisttrek. And a special thank you to our founding admirals, Allie, Peter, Sarah D., Bruce, the Bear, and Keurig podcast, and some call him Tim.
Thanks, guys. We really, really appreciate your support.
Thank you so much.
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind.
Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Beck is back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge question for Who Watches the Watchers? What was our question this week?
The Enterprise visits the planet Mintaka 3 in this episode. What real-world star was the name Mintaka likely taken from?
And what did we guess?
Sarah guessed Orion, and Allie guessed the Big Dipper.
Okay, those are constellations, not stars, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so they're clusters of stars. I don't fucking know. What was the answer?
We had this conversation. And
yeah, we did.
Mintaka is also the name of the westernmost star of the 3 stars that form Orion's belt.
What?
In the constellation Orion.
Affirmative.
What?
It is a white-blue supergiant star located approximately 900 light years from Earth and is over 20 times larger and 7,000 times bigger than our sun.
that is so sus.
I got lucky on that one.
She does this, Allie.
Super
She
sus.
talks her way into the right answer. I have no idea how she
That's
does
super
it.
sus that you got that right.
I can only assume that it's because we are so in sync.
I wanted to start with like Taurus the bull because that's my sign, and we're talking a lot about crazy beliefs this week. But yeah, next time we'll be reviewing Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 5, The Bonding. When the ship's archaeologist is killed on a mission led by Worf, the Klingon feels responsible for the son she left behind. What do you remember about that one?
Nothing.
Okay, I think the kid's name is Jeremy for some reason. That's stuck in my head, but that might be it.
Jeremy spoken class today.
Rarely do Becca and I break out in songs together.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Yeah, so I remember that they're on an away mission. She dies. He ends up with the kid, kind of, and he tries to like be a godfather to this kid and teach him Klingon shit or something. I don't know.
A godfather to it. Sorry, just doing my impression of the Godfather.
Maybe the Godfather will be part of the question because the episode probably won't. What is our question for The bonding.
Writer Ronald D. Moore's original idea was for Jeremy to recreate his mother on the holodeck. Why did Gene Roddenberry nix this idea?
What? To recreate his mother on the holodeck.
Oh, is this the episode where he starts seeing his mom and it's an alien that's taken her
Form?
Oh, I remember that. It has nothing to do with the question, but I think I remember that now. Why wouldn't Gene want? Because you don't want to just like create your dead mom and then live in that fantasy.
You hinder the acceptance of death. I don't know. By doing that. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I feel like if it's an alien creating her form, then it's not Jeremy putting himself into the position of not wanting to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It's being placed upon him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he goes to the holodeck and makes a replica of her, then he's the one that's refusing to move on.
Right.
Directly. I don't know how you're going to write any of that down, but that's what we're going with.
But it prevents him from letting go, and maybe that's what Gene maybe didn't want to do. I just think back to like some of the like that one episode about death in the cartoon one, and and about how they wanted to teach kids about death and letting go and stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm guessing. Don't know. But
I don't know either, and Becca's face isn't helpful, but that's our answer. And if you want to play along,
what's wrong with my face?
You know, well, it's blurry right now, but you know how to do that. Go out to your social media, share this episode with the hashtag Starfleet Challenge and your answer. We'll pick out a winner, and next time we'll discuss Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 3, Episode 5, The Bonding.
It's a good day to die.
Beverly.
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.